This is hiring.
Hiring on all cylinders.
Hello friends, Rob Stevenson here once more for Hiring on All Cylinders, and today there will be no overly verbose introduction as I am on the floor of the 18th Annual HR Tech Conference, the be-all end-all of all human resources and recruiting conferences. And not only that, but I am joined by the co-founder of HR Tech. You know him from the Bill Kutik radio show, from his column on Human Resources Executive, as well as his brand new YouTube video series, Firing Line, the man himself, the father of HR Tech, Bill Kutik. Bill, thank you so much for swinging by to join me.
I'm delighted to be here on the largest show floor that HR Tech has ever had. It's a monster.
Yeah, great. It's good that it's growing every single year. It's definitely what you want, even though now that you're not exactly co-chair, you're still monitoring the show. And what are your hopes for how it'll evolve over the years?
Well, I have no connection with the show anymore, which is just fine with me. I love being an attendee. And my hopes for the show is that it continues to grow and thrive, because I plan to have my memorial service here if I can find a sponsor.
Awesome. I wanted to jump right into your new video series, Firing Line with Bill Kutik, on YouTube. You've had a really impressive line of guests so far, Josh Burson, Brian Summer, among others. I enjoy how it focuses on what the HR practitioners, vendors, experts, so on, are thinking and doing rather than what they're selling. So you're about 8 months into that. How's it going so far?
Well, you're very insightful to recognize that the bedrock principle of the show is the same as it was for the HR Tech Conference, for the Bill Kutik radio show, for the HR Tech LinkedIn group that I founded, which is exactly what you said. People talk about what they're thinking, not what they're selling, or if they're a customer, what software they're using. The show is going gangbusters. I hate to jinx it or anything, but if everyone, SAP was our inaugural sponsor. They've renewed for a year. We've signed Infor as our second sponsor. And if the other people who've expressed interest in buying it actually sign, which of course they won't, we'll be booked out to 2018, the mid-2018. And the audience response has been great. I mean, I'm a long-form kind of guy. I mean, my own radio show, podcast, is 20 minutes long. I can't really clear my throat in under 5 minutes, but these videos are 6-7 minutes long, and people love the short stuff now. I mean, that is modern education. You see anything about learning products now in corporate learning, you talk to any learning experts, they say short, small, and that YouTube, which is where people can find my show just by searching for Firing Line with Bill Kutik, and if they don't know my last name, everyone always wants to put a C in it. It doesn't have one. It's 5 letters, Kutik. They're all saying, I just heard Dmitry Krakovsky say this morning in a session that YouTube is the most important educational resource available in the world today. And that's where I am, so it feels good.
Great. So did you know that going in that you were going to have this, that it was already this excellent platform for what exactly you're doing?
I went in knowing that the network news, the old network news that no one watches anymore, CBS, NBC, ABC, has for 20 years never had a segment longer than 2.5 minutes, except when they were special reports on something, or if they were 60 minutes, or whatever. But the regular nightly news, they were all really short. Happily, I have a partner who is a TV pro. He won an Emmy Award for being producer, director, writer of Adam Smith's Money World on PBS, who said to me, it's got to be 5 minutes. You got to do it in 5 minutes. And I said, okay, I will. And people of all ages, it's not just 18-year-olds, have said 5 minutes is great.
So you have the team in place, you have this lineup through 2018, so we can expect many more episodes in the years to come, which I'm definitely looking forward to. So here we are on the floor of HR Tech. Everyone can hear the hustle and bustle in the background. What is it in the show this year, whether it's a piece of technology or maybe a new attitude or focus in the industry, are you most excited about?
Well, I tend to focus on what's most prevalent rather than what my personal excitement is about, because I don't think I'm a barometer of what's going to work. But what's clear is that the vendors have gotten the message that the disastrous numbers in employee engagement are really going to be hurting corporations in the future. So the number of new products that label themselves as employee engagement, whether they actually do that or not. And the number of products that are pulse surveys and anonymous feedback and all that stuff that people think will help employee engagement, that's the big news to me this year. Last year it was this tsunami of predictive analytics offerings. This year it's a tsunami of employee engagement. You know, I'm very cynical about employee engagement. My attitude is you're engaged in your job if you get interesting, maybe even creative work that you're good at, that you like to do, and you have a boss that doesn't treat you like, you know? If you got a good boss and good work, and get paid a fair salary, obviously, then you are engaged in your work. And I'm not sure how measuring how people feel about it is going to help employers fix it.
Gotcha. So you're saying employee engagement starts way earlier than a software solution, that it's more of engaging people in meaningful work to them, treating them well, and once you've taken care of that they'll be engaged by their own accord?
Well, I think something we've learned from all those ridiculous millennial surveys, and you are one yourself, I see, about a feeling of ownership, and they've always said, millennials want ownership and autonomy. Well, as we're discovering, millennials aren't that different from anybody else. And anybody who's working wants a feeling of ownership and autonomy, that they get to do the work in their best judgment is the way to do it, and that someone who knows less than they do doesn't get to overrule their best judgment. I mean, I think that disengages employees really fast. I know. This is the reason I've been self-employed for 26 years. I don't want anyone else's judgment overruling mine.
So we've seen a lot of ATSs bursting on the scene, and they have increased offerings, and you've been monitoring this very closely over the years. So I just wanted to kind of lob you a softball a little bit. What have you noticed? Where do you see it going? What's the most important part of the modern ETS?
At the risk of revealing just what an old guy I am, I have been following the ATS since it was born in 1988. With ResumX and what was then called MicroTrack, then became ResTrack, and then WebHire, and then got sunsetted by Connexa. So I was there at the birth of recruiting automation. I've been watching it ever since. And as anyone who watches it or watches our industry knows, recruiting is the single biggest source of innovation in any part of HCM. There's more startups, more new ways of doing things. It's fabulous. More innovative. Oh, it's not so fabulous when you get 2 emails a week from startups who want to talk to you on the phone for 2 hours. But it's just amazing. So I had a dinner a few years ago with the woman who was the last CEO of Brass Ring when it was still independent before Connexa bought it, Deb Bessemer, who's a really great person, terrific executive, had been at Lotus for years. And I said, Deb, why do you think this innovation continues? And I said, is it because recruiting has so many moving parts? She said, nah, we just haven't gotten it right yet. And that's the truth. We still haven't gotten it right yet. And, Intello, TalentBin, Guild were all a part of another wave of innovation in recruiting, which was very exciting to me. And when I did my next to last Awesome New Technologies here, I spoke to all of them about presenting. And I think that the primary situation we're in right now is that everyone, except those selling them, everyone knows the center of value has moved away from the ATS into the functions that happen before someone goes into an ATS. And as I like to say to people, there's a reason they call it an applicant tracking system, because you can't put a candidate into it, and the candidates are what you want to deal with. So that's what I think.
Bill, I know you have to run, so I don't want to keep you. I just want to thank you once more for joining me. Everyone out there listening in podcast land, definitely check out Bill's new YouTube series, Firing Line with Bill Kutik. Bill, thanks once more.
Thank you. Enjoyed it.